Welcome to the September 6, 2016 committee meeting. Present are board members Tim Bryant, Sarah Worsley, Cherry Scotch-Racy, and myself, Scott Ballmer, along with Superintendent Lodio and Treasurer Ernie Strasser. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You got a call, sir.
All right, we're going to letter B, conversion school update. Just a brief update. We started the school year. We have 36 kids in the conversion school. We have 3 more who haven't completed the enrollment process. That will be coming. And then we have 2 more that actually will be moving into the district. So we're going to be approaching the 40 level here shortly. And we feel it's a really good crew. We have a lot of returns. And a lot of those kids worked all summer and accumulated a lot of credits all the way through the end of July. So our success story is continuing. We anticipate we'll continue with those successes. And had a kind of interesting email today because we have new guidelines are supposed to be approved and in place by October 15th, but we were notified by email today that these new guidelines were sent back from the General Assembly back to the Common Sense Initiative Committee. So now we're going to go back to last year's guidelines. So what's interesting is out of 321 item checklist that I had to go through, documentation I needed to provide, and for what were the new guidelines, well, now we got to go back and do the 165 item checklist for last year's guidelines, because those are going to be in place until sometime this year the new guidelines are finally approved. So we're kind of chasing our tails, but here's the bottom line. That's other people's work, central office work, and Kevin's teaching up the kids. And so got a good crew in there. And we bought some new furniture at the end of the year last year because the stuff we had donated was fabric, so we had some challenges there. So we bought some plush fake leather furniture that's very comfortable. And so stopped up there today, and Kevin and Debbie were working like crazy with the kids. So we're off to a good start. So any questions on the conversion school? Great Oaks Board. Last month at the committee meeting, we talked about, Sarah talked about stepping back from the Great Oaks Board, and that we need to get a new representative on the Great Oaks Board. And it does not have to be a board member. It can be a resident or somebody who works here in the city of Norwood. Talk about everybody thinking about it, seeing if you had some names that you want to bring forth. So I'll turn it over to Sarah and anybody else, if any names you're thinking.
I honestly have not had a lot of time to think about this. Things have been a little crazy. So I have thought...
So you just say just because you were in Germany, that's an excuse,
Well, I was
right?
in Germany and then New Orleans, and then, yeah, it's been crazy. So.
I knew about New Orleans before you knew about New Orleans.
I know.
You know that?
No, I didn't, but I'm finding out a lot of people knew about it. I was in the dark.
I found out about it during the thunder delay.
Got it.
Evan came up and told me.
Got
You
it.
can't tell anybody.
Right.
I promise I won't.
Yeah. So no, I haven't I've thought of different people that might be good fit for it, but honestly, I haven't put pen to paper or even approached anybody about it. So I don't know if anybody has names of people that they think might be interested or a good fit.
And if you have names, I mean, you can use me. I can approach them. I mean, that's my job. You guys are doing something else during the day. I can talk. I mean, that's my job. So if you have anybody, some names that you have an idea about me, about that we're interested, if you want me, I can talk to them because you guys have other jobs during the day. This is my job during the day, so I have no problem if there's people. So you want to email me some names, and if you're comfortable with me talking to them, I'd be more than happy to sit down with them.
I can do that. I'll sit down tonight after this meeting and I'll work through who I think would be good.
Okay. If anybody else has, some
Anybody.
people you're thinking, community members or local business owners or people who work in Norwood, you're thinking, especially if they're in some of the multiple areas of concentrations. We used to call them trades at the career centers, now they're really concentrations.
Right.
Let me know. Think of the name. We can talk to them. I can talk to them. Yeah, Sarah, feel free to have me, talk to them.
Okay.
That's part of what I do.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll keep this on the agenda for October, and then we just need to get it wrapped up so we can get you pulled away from there. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Flood damage update. Well, you guys, I was keeping you up to date and hope you got some humor out of when I said in the status report, in case you didn't hear, we had a flood. But there's a couple of pieces to it. Is one, I got to tell you, it's my 29th year in education. If at any point in my career somebody would have said, hey, here's what you're going to be faced with, I never would have. Flood is not one I would have thought of, especially in Norwood, because we're the highest elevations in Hamilton County. But I can tell you, there's a lot of pieces that really made things go well. There's a couple very fortunate strokes of luck that we had. One, our walk-in freezers held. Had they opened up, we wouldn't have been in school last week. Second, the food that we had in our dry storage is up about 6 feet high. And only things that were down low were like cans of spaghetti sauce, things of that nature. So we lucked out there. Third, that it was not raw sewage that got into the buildings. And if you were able to open up the email I sent with a video, if you watch the whole thing, it could be a long video. But here's how I was first notified. When that water rushed in, it tripped our burglar alarms. Came in and tripped our motion detection. John Peter then pulled up the cameras to find out who was in the cafeteria on his phone and called me. The sun is shining. I'm sitting on the couch waiting to watch the Bengals scrimmage. And he tells me about how bad it's storming down there. So I look on the radar, I'm like, it's not a real big storm, it's just sitting right over top of Norwood. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta get some eyes on what's going on. John said, Rob, I can't get out. It's a river on Indian Mountain. So that's when I texted you guys to say, Jerry, can you look out your window? And that's when our house got struck by lightning. And yeah, it's raining like crazy and the streets are flooded. So I'm talking to Mike Mayfield, John Stacy, Gab. I'm trying to think of everybody who lived in different areas. And I texted you guys. And so I'm trying to get eyes to find out what's going on. And then John sending me screenshots of the cafeteria. Then Adam Robinson and Derek were there. They're sending me pictures. And then I started getting in the car. And then Gabbard says, don't come down here. There's 10 feet of water in the lateral, and you can't get into town. So John showed up on site at about 11. And he didn't go home until about 6 o'clock the next day, John Peter. What was really neat is when at first there was a small group of us because we didn't need a bunch of people yet. We had to figure out what was going on. Plus you have 50 people show up and you have 5 rooms and 2 squeegees. But we didn't do an email or an all-call to try to get all staff in because we didn't need hundreds of people. We needed a small amount of people who were going to be working hard. And so we had 2 situations. The big dog was the high school because if we can't feed our kids, we can't be in school. And all of our lunches are made there and then they're transported out here. Primarily all the lunches are made there. So first maybe hour or 2 at the high school, what our focus was we had snow shovels and we were shoveling the mulch and we're pulling branches out. There was a big tree limb that was behind one of our ovens that the big thing we were doing was we just shoveled. And then we didn't think because as we were shoveling the mulch, putting in 55-gallon garbage cans, then you can't move that garbage can to take it outside and dump it. So then we had to scoop in with 5-gallon buckets to take it. So, right around 9:30, 10, we had a lot of people start showing up, and that's when we needed the manpower over there because we had to take every table and every chair, all 44 tables and all the chairs out. We had to power wash them. Our power washer, we couldn't get it to work. John Stacy drove home and got his. So we just had a big assembly line of people carrying things out. Power washed everything outside, top to bottom. Just had to spray them down. We had pump sprayers with bleach water solution. It was sunny, so everything aired and sun dried. We got everything. We had everything that the water had touched. So basically, from about 4 feet high. If you saw the video, you can see some of our tables floating. Had to not only power wash or Tyvek wash, and then spray down with bleach everything. All the walls, the floors. Scarlet and gray was huge because once we had all the water cleaned up and all the mulch out, and basically the walls washed down, and they just kept going through with their auto scrubbers with the bleach water solution. Just kept going through and going through. So by the end of the day on Monday, we had 3 dumpsters worth here, our dumpster, plus we brought 2 others in that was here. And then we had the cafeteria, eating area, basically the cafeteria cleaned, still being final sanitized. We had the kitchen area cleaned, but it wasn't sanitized yet. And so we had all the wet materials. What we lost here would be a lot of old curriculum. I'm talking back into the 80s. But I've always said to Christine and Chris, you probably need to throw that away. in Chris's heart, someone may need that someday. Well, now they're gone. And then a lot of archived and records out of the treasurer
The
store.
accounting stuff was mostly stuff that would have been on a schedule to eliminate at the end of 7 years anyway, but we did have some personnel and I think even some student records. So we're going to get an inventory too. There's not anything we could do. I mean, the choice was made. The shredding company came in because there was some data that would have had Social Security numbers and that kind of stuff. So we know that it was securely removed, not just thrown in a dumpster. But I did call the state auditor's office and advise them and ask for guidance, but I didn't hear back from them. I'm not going to tell you that it was right or wrong. It was just necessary. So we'll put it on record. We'll give you an inventory. Might take us a little bit yet to get through that of what was done, and we'll just treat it like a public records disposal. And you know, we're going to try to identify where there could be personnel voids, because we do still get calls, even if it's old stuff, where someone will say, I need you to verify that I worked there. A lot of times there will be a multiple record someplace that we can find to back it up. So, but I mean, how did you do with the insurance company as well?
You know, so what we lost at the high school was 2 laptops. That was it. That were on the bottom 2 of a cart, 2 here on the bottom of a cart. The cafeteria tables have to be replaced because you figure you got laminate, and press board. And even to now, the laminate is starting to come off. So we had insurance claims adjuster in. We spent about 4 hours with her, myself and John Peter, and we've lost the gym floor here. And so what she told us was for cafeteria, for food service, so we didn't lose any equipment, just the tables got to be replaced. He goes, just get an estimate for replacing them as they are. So basically don't upgrade to some Cadillac, just basically the same thing. Get that to her. And then she said, who do you use for your gym floor work? We said Cincinnati Flooring. And she said, well, that's who we were going to recommend anyway. Get Cincinnati Flooring out. And so we got that estimate actually today. Not only does the floor have to be replaced, but the subfloor underneath. It's a $42,000 cost for the gym floor. And then we have to replace the cafeteria table still, getting some estimates there. And we have a project manager coming out Thursday from Liberty Mutual, who will then be meeting with John and myself to start to collect all these estimates that we have. So our biggest costs have been the dumpsters that we had to bring in. We had 2 shredded trucks came in, cafeteria tables, and the floor, the Williams gym floor, because it's buckled, expanded in a bunch of areas. And I don't know if that's the original gym floor. May very well be. I don't know. And then, the stuff we lost in the curriculum office, we don't need to replace in the curriculum storage downstairs. There was 2 classrooms that are like underneath. One's underneath my office, one's underneath the treasurer's office. Not classrooms or office areas. Underneath Ernie's office, underneath mine is a PTO team. But what's great about those walls, they're concrete, they are brick, because one wall is really the stairwell, the others are slab walls, and then there's some solid steel partitions. So we didn't have any porous material, drywall, wood, anything of that nature, so we didn't have any problems there. So we'll be providing everything. We're funneling right through Heather for everything with the insurance company. They spent about 4 hours with us. We also had some floor tile damage up at North Norwood that to replace. I anticipate as part of the claim too is going to be replacing the high school cafeteria floor. While we were able to clean it and everything, vinyl flooring doesn't like 4 feet of water, and so as you walk in there, you can instead of everything laying flat, you can see the seams. They're not a trip slip hazard right now, but they're going to be.
Yeah, they're not going to get better from here.
Right. And so what was interesting to me is that as a claim, that we don't have to hurry, we don't have to replace it, because we understand it right now. And so we understand sometimes schools can't replace something until Christmas break or spring break or over the summer. So they said, we'll be reimbursed for that. We don't have to all of a sudden figure out where we're going to feed our students 7 through 12. Those tiles in the high school are not asbestos. They're VCT, vinyl composite tile. So they will pay for us to have them tested. We will have them tested. John Brown Carpet does it. So we'll have them tested, but we know they're vinyl composite because we replace some of them, but they require us to have them tested anyway. So trying to think, that's primarily our big ticket item.
Were you pleased with how they responded?
Absolutely. How Liberty Mutual and how our local agent responded could not have been better.
This just so you know, I mean, we push our vendors hard, and I still, even with the insurance, Rob has kind of left that to me. I'll still go out and test quote it about every 3 years, but these are the kinds of relationships where the guys want to come in and call you every year and have you switch every year, and it has not been in my track record to do so. I don't have anything with Liberty except for the fact I know they're a reputable company, and that was just encouraging that is there. And we've had a long-term relationship with that company now for at least 10 years. That we've been with them. So
well, the initial adjuster who called me to say, I should be your adjuster, but I'm carrying 17 claims right now, so you're going to have somebody else. Here's her name. She's going to call you sometime today. 15 minutes later, I got a call from her. And I said, how soon can you get out? She said, I'll be there tomorrow. I said, okay, 8:30 in my office. So we're very pleased with how quickly, because we probably weren't the only people out there saying, hey, we got a problem. So I was very pleased with it. And I can tell you, I was blown away, really appreciative of our staff that showed up. It was just like, tell me what to do. Not just out at the high school, but we had a ton of people here. And what was really interesting is all of a sudden a wave of Sharpsburg teachers showed up here at the high school. So they showed up over at Sharpsburg. Mm-hmm. Where our damage Sharpsburg, we had a couple feet of water, but it was in the boiler rooms. So our losses there was some toilet paper and paper towels. And Chris's feet got wet. So, but there was no classrooms there. The boilers didn't get wet. One thing they told us is, whoever treats your boilers, have them come out here and test fire. Because the adjuster said, your boilers work. We said, well, they're not on right now. They said, have somebody come out and test fire. If something happened, you want to make the claim now. And so we've got a company coming out who does our boiler treatment. But all of a sudden, all the teachers from Sharpsburg, there was about 15, 20 of them, all of a sudden just showed up. Some of them here, some of them at the high school. And I was over at the high school until about 2. So I was being told what was going on over here, but we needed every person on deck with all the equipment over there. Came over here, and everybody's working like crazy. And so, like I said in the news, I don't know how many times it got captured. It was just the greatest example of Norwood pride. And the thing that I kept telling the newscasters, and I don't know how much they ever picked it up because they became a real nuisance after a while, was that we're not the story. We have insurance.
Right.
The story is our residents. Who thinks to get flood insurance in our community?
Right.
yeah.
There's not a creek in our city, is there? There's not a pond other than the one behind playing card that's about the size of this room here. It's not a lake. River's way down the hill. And so, and a lot of people, sometimes you can't get it. And so, I kept saying that's the story. But I had, all of a sudden there's 3 people at the high school. And I didn't know who they were. And I walked up, introduced myself. And one has had kids in the district for 15 years, saw the news, just showed up. Another one said, I'm through some situations, not real close to my daughter right now, but I'm doing this for her. And I said, what's your daughter's name? And he told me, he goes, can you tell her I was here? I said, I sure will. So I went over and saw her on Wednesday. I said, hey, Dad asked me to tell you he was here cleaning. She goes, he was? I said, yeah. And they had another parent. And they just heard it in the news. And then so I had a couple calls and people say, hey, you need to come up. We're just residents. I said, well, good right now. But go find your friends who need your help. Mm-hmm. And so like Derek also was up cleaning, and then he told me what happened with his parents. I said, Derek, go home. Go to your folks. Go to your parents' house. They need you more than we need you here. And so, one of the neatest thing, 96% attendance on Wednesday. That was the neatest thing because I'm very aware that we had a lot of our kiddos whose families, whose homes were damaged, whose apartments were completely flooded out. 96% attendance on that day. That, above everything, speaks the loudest volume to me about our community. Is that there's a whole lot of reasons to keep your kids home. Need their help. You lost your washer, your dryer, your refrigerator, your furnace, your water heater, clothing, and the kids were in school. So it was really neat. So, there's some really neat lessons and some really, strong just indicators about our community came out within, and it's still happening, still coming out. So, but once we have all the total dollar amount of what we're going to be submitting, I'll get that to you guys. Heather's a point person for us. We're just the grunts getting all the paperwork and identifying what our challenges are, and then funnel roll through Heather and Heather to the insurance company. So But I will tell you, we were, in all honesty, we were really lucky. We had a couple inches of view. Middle school restroom, that was it. That was simple. Roll up the mats, suction the water out, clean up the mats. But in reality, we were really lucky because not any of our buildings we didn't have raw sewage. This building was because of the drain out back and built up. And then, I need somebody to go over and tell me what's happening over here. Jerry's like, well, our house just got struck by lightning. I'm like, all right, well, let's not worry about Chris going over there. But when he texted me and said, hey, there's 3 feet of water here. When the building, there's 2 feet of water. It came in underneath the garage door. So I've seen that, maybe 6 inches of water there before. Never seen 3 feet. So, but we're really lucky. We're dealing with raw sewage and we didn't lose our food. Again, had we lost our food, we would have been struggling to be in school day to day last week. So, but kids came up and it was just like starting school over again. So,
How about the window? Did the window break out at the bottom, or did it
it did not actually. The glass did not break.
just broke
It
in?
actually forced open. If you watch it, you can see it's just sprinkling in. What happened was that window's cracked because we had a break-in at the high school, and we caught them because as they broke in, it tripped the lights, security cameras, motion detection. But when they broke in, they were trying to break that window, and so we had that window, Ryan's All Glass, coming out to replace it. But that window actually was the one that it forced it open. And so that's when you see it kind of coming in a little bit, then the boom. So we didn't lose the glass in it. It's just the pressure of it actually forced it open because it opens in. Well, it opens like this. So that's how it all got in.
Yeah.
The high school, yeah. So again, we were, all things considered, we're really fortunate. And that the cafeteria tables are usable for a short time period. And that the floor is usable right now, so.
Do those days count against your calamity day build-in, or?
Well, we've got, now that it's hours instead of days, we could actually miss, I think I did the calculations last year, like 18 days.
Okay.
To still be above the hours.
Sure.
So under the old days of 5 days, we would be going into the winter already have eaten 2. So, but unless we have just North Pole winter, we'll be fine. Now, obviously, it's 2 lost days of instruction.
Right.
Because Wednesday was kind of like the start of the school year again. And so we did lose the momentum. Is really important. In the winter, we struggle with momentum. When we get real cold, sub-zero, and I don't bring us in, or we get heavy wet, heavy snow. And so lost that beginning of the year momentum. We just had it again because we had 4 days, and then we had 3, and then we got 4 this week. So, but getting that momentum back, it's a lot easier when 96% of your kids show up.
Right.
So that was big. So, but I'll keep you guys up to speed as we, really the next piece is do we find anything? We thought we lost an electrical panel, but we had one bad breaker that did get wet that was tripping all the other ones to not stay on. So we replaced it. We brought in Atlas Electric to do it because we were all swamped, literally. And so they came in and did it, replaced one breaker, and everything was fine. So we didn't lose the panel. It was just one breaker. So I think it was $11.50 is what our total charge was for that work. So we called the electrician. He said to John, I've been waiting for you to call me. John's like, we really didn't have much electrical problems, but I need you to come out and check this panel. And the technician was there for about 15 minutes. Took care of it. So if you hear anything, questions or anything like that, let me know. We're also putting together just a small group in the district of Norwood employees who are also Norwood residents as we're starting to get some monetary donations. Bernie's office has sent an account up, and what we want to do is be able to identify some families that need some help. We want to kind of, not cleaning supplies. There's enough cleaning supplies, I think, to probably go around Norwood. But people have lost some basic necessities like shoes, clothing, some basic kind of clothing. Help out with gift cards to Walmart, where you can get you can get food, you can get some basic necessities of clothing. Lowe's, Home Depot, if you've lost washer, dryer, things of that nature. So, and we have some current families who are employed by us that, Adam, he's lost everything in the basement. Allsup's Adam, Ferguson. So we have some families internally that we need to look after also. So, but wanted to be employees who are Norwood residents, so we know there's going to be much better knowledge. And if you guys are aware of any families that need some specific help, it's not high dollar, but anything will help. Please email that to me, text me, call me, let me know if there's somebody we need to be pointed towards.
Have you been on the Facebook site, the Norwood Flood of 2016?
No.
So James Bonzel, Marilyn Hanrahan, and a couple of other city council people created a Facebook site that's open to the public, and they have been tracking and pooling teams of volunteers together of people that have lost everything.
Okay.
And so the city council has documented. They've even involved FEMA and some of those organizations trying to pull with St. Bernard to get us bigger relief efforts,
Okay.
but they have lists of families.
Great, I'll go on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
out there.
I'll go on there.
Tanya
Absolutely.
Cook's also part of it.
Okay,
So
excellent.
Yeah.
And James, he was around on, and Marilyn was here. Yeah, man, she was downstairs here,
Yeah.
cleaning walls.
Yeah.
So, and I am aware that MSD is now getting involved and maybe going to be providing some financial relief to some folks. So, that's good. That's good. Okay, well, that's my discussion items. I can go ahead and walk through the agenda if you guys would like. Education report, nothing at this time. Personnel, we have 2 resignations, 6 new classified substitutes. We have 3, these are replacement positions in food service. And then additional, as all the paperwork comes down, people activity and all those things from ODE, got 5 coaches. 10 under student activities and 7 under avenues for success. And then this is the standard approval for every year for any details that we need. Warren Police, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office for our primarily sporting events. And then change of status for 3 employees. And then a correction to the August 18th agenda. So at this point, that is all of our personnel. Other than maybe if it's a sub or 2, really what you'll see primarily is more coaches, advisors, avenues for success as that's getting cranked up. That'll be the changes on the agenda between now and Thursday. So don't anticipate hiring or resignations between now and then. So we don't have any policy updates at this point. I do need to go back to my discussion items. So and we don't have any buildings and grounds, any recommendations or applications for facility usage. And so, Ernie, if you want to do the finance, then I'll go back to my last item of discussion.
Well, our stuff is, I don't think we have anything new on there, everything's standard. So we're under audit right now, so you've got that underway. So as Terry walked out of his office today and said, well, I see you're in trouble, they're back. No, it's an annual event if anybody asks you. So, but they're here and underway, and the office is really adjusting well to the move. I think it's really been interesting that even when the auditors came in, said, for those of you who don't know the day-to-day details, Rob used one of the sections of our office to help out with EMIS and that kind of thing. It's really just visually shown how we've shrunk the office. Not so much that, and I sent you the note on hours and people working and that kind of stuff, but this team of people, with very little help from me, has just methodically continued to eliminate paper in our shop. And even when the auditors came in today, said, I don't need that room any longer. Everything I need is electronic. So between the checkbook program that we got involved with the state treasurer's office, which made it easier for people who want to, not that I'm saying we've had a huge number of requests, but they can see that. But you can go online now and find all of our information on every bill we pay. And I'm just really proud of them. As you can tell, we had a district come down and visit, how did we do it, and that kind of thing. But the move just kind of symbolized, as we were shrinking, that we used to have file cabinets and boxes. And
There was a day not so long, Ernie, that the auditors, this was maybe my first year, they set up in here.
yeah, and it carries stuff in and out. And you got one guy down there now that's able to look at everything online. When he goes back to his own office, he can do it there as well. So it's been a neat experience that I never really thought of having it. The sunset of my career or whatever. But the team has really done a good job, and I'm proud of them. And it was neat having Talawanda came down and wanted to see what we were doing and how we did it. So we're excited.
It's a good crew. It's a good crew. So, and as I always tell people, if somebody says, well, how many hours is Ernie there? I said, anytime I need him. And it works. So when Ernie's here, he and I meet. If he's not, I get Heather, I got Laura, I got Joan, I got Bridget, or I just text you.
Yeah.
We reach out and touch. So it's a really good, that crew's really, they do a great job. They do a great job. But with the new setup, we look smaller.
Yeah.
Just because you walk in, you don't have all the big workstation with Heather. You don't have all these file cabinets all piled everywhere. It's just,
It's streamlined.
Then when Ernie's in, I walk around, I gotta find him because he doesn't have an office.
Yeah, I just move from spot to spot. So no, I do, but it's just a different spot.
All right, I'm gonna hand this out under item E, the students' rights update. Let me give this to you. And it's, what you have is, I think, 9 pages from the Department of Justice. It's called Dear Colleague Letter. Basically, it gives guidance to school districts. And then the last page, you will see, it's just kind of a one-page snapshot from Ennis Robertson Fisher that kind of gives some bullet points. So if you look at the last page where it says, USDOE releases Dear Colleague Letter, and then if you go to the top paragraph where you click on it, it looks like, well, when you click on it, you got these first 9 pages. Okay? So this is anything and everything you wanted to know. As you read through it, if you have any questions, give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever you need. I think it's important for me to provide you the information that you need in case somebody has questions, concerns, anything. You can refer them to that. Feel free to share that. I did with a resident community member today, as that it's public record, and I think it provides a good, clear explanation. So of new information that can be confusing at times. So, but if you have any questions after you read through it, just give me a call. So that's all the items I have for today.
Any other items of discussion? All right, we'll be adjourned at 6:08.